Hi guys, Michael Fights with Friends here. If you watch my channel a lot, you know it's no understatement to say that I am absolutely obsessed with anything combat sports and, of course, mixed martial arts and the UFC. That's why I've been so excited most of this day since I found out about my next guest. Honestly, for a couple hours, I was at work. I talked to this person on lunch and they agreed to come on the show. And I I literally couldn't work. It was really hard for me to work for like a couple hours. I was so excited. And then, I mean, I hate the term fanboy, but I was fanboy. Uh, I was trying to think of questions that I could ask this person and just talking to this person. And I was just kind of speechless for about several hours. You guys know I've been watching the UFC since 1993, since the inception. I was 14 years old, April 27th, 1993 is when it came out. And it was the most amazing, jaw dropping thing that I'd ever seen on television. It still is. It's still my favorite thing to watch on television. That's why I do this and why I like to watch it with all you guys. But without this man is going to be a guest on this show, it wouldn't be possible. None of us would be friends. None of us would be talking to each other. And as much as that jackass John McCain or whatever legislators want to talk about how this is human cockfighting and all these people are going to die, and I can just think of all the lives that were turned great by this, that possibly could have been ruined by gang violence, people that actually could have ended up dead because they would not have had a path to go on. And in that way, I think the UFC has saved tons of lives. No one's ever died in the cage. I mean, maybe one day it's probably going to happen. We're looking at probably over 4,000 fights because we're on like UFC 220 something. You have like 130 some fight nights, UFC fight nights. Then you have other ones like UFC on Fox and different ones with different names. Average about 12 or 13 fights an event. Seriously, you're looking at probably, I estimate, around 4,000 to 5,000 fights that have happened in the UFC. Especially you talk about like the Ultimate Fighter matchups and just everything that has happened. That's just the UFC. I'm not talking about Bellator, Strikeforce, Elite XC, all the other major ones that were in this country, at least in the United States, that no one ever died in. When people die in other sports, just about every year, all the time, people are dying in football and baseball and boxing and all the things that they compared us to, that we, somehow ended up being safer than. By the numbers, safest major league sport in America, bar none. Human cockfighting, right? Human cockfighting, the safest sport on earth. No, my guest is going to be here at Friday, 11 a.m. I'm going to be streaming live, and I will tell you, he is the creator, the co-founder of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Friday, May the 4th be with us at 11 a.m. Art motherfucking Davy in the house. Let that soak in for a moment. That's a huge moment for me, for this show. Just the long journey that I've traveled with you guys. I know it's only been a year since I've been doing like this fighting thing, but the journey that I've traveled with you guys as friends and I consider a lot of you friends, even though we don't see each other face to face on a regular basis. We're going to be seeing Art Davie face to face because he's going to be on camera. We're going to be on Skype, and 11 a.m. If you guys are wondering why 11 a.m., some of you will still be working. You'll have to watch it on recording later. If you have questions, put them down there in the comments. But the reason is the creator and co-founder of the UFC said, can we do your show at 11 a.m. on May the 4th? And I wasn't about to go with him and say, hey, I got this big YouTube channel out of Lake Stevens, Washington with 2,000 subscribers. Mr. Davie, can we change that to a different time? Because that really just doesn't work for me. Yeah, that wasn't happening. And congratulations, Mr. Davie, on being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. July 5th, Art Davie finally, long overdue, will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. But 2 months before that, this Friday on May 4th, he'll be with us. He's ours on Fights with Friends. And I'm so excited and happy. I hope you guys are excited to listen to him, to watch. I've been listening to his interviews, kind of watching some of the stuff. More, I'm just listening to his voice. So I get a little numb to it. So I'm not so nervous when I talk to him. And like I said, I don't get nervous when I talk to him. I've had fighters on here before, and I've talked to a lot of fighters, and I don't generally get nervous. These guys are really nice people, and Art Davie's one of the nicest people you'll meet. He was so super nice to me. It was amazing. But, I was getting a little tongue-tied, and I really had to kind of sit back and think, read his book a little bit, try to get inside his mind a little bit, try to think a little bit like him. That's what kind of helps me, not be so nervous. And that's not something I've dealt with really on this podcast or on this YouTube channel before, is the nervousness with a guest or an event. I'll get tongue-tied every once in a while. That happens, as you guys have seen. But to have the creator, literally none of us would be here. There's entire industries outside of MMA that would not even exist if it wasn't for this man and his idea to put 8 men in a tournament in a cage with basically no rules and find out who was better. And of course, at the beginning, it was what art was better. And I challenge you guys, if you can, to go back, watch UFC 1 before we do this, watch UFC 2, or listen, and just kind of try to reminisce. Maybe, you were too young. A lot of you, I know some of you weren't even born yet, so it makes me feel a little old. I'm only 39, but still makes me feel a little old. But give me your questions before I go on and talk with him if you're not going to be there at 11 a.m. And I hope you guys watch it later because, he's a very, very busy man right now, especially, honestly. I mean, everybody wants to get this guy on their show. And he's coming on my show, on our show. And I want to pay him the respect that's due, and I hope you guys have some great questions to ask him. Hopefully some things that are original, and I'm going to try to rack my brain. I'm going to go off and get busy right now. As always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see your fine asses later.